Hey guys, how's it going? We're just going to do a quick little video here around Bitmex, some of the basics around Bitmex, and a little intro. I know a lot of you guys have had a few questions around how it operates, what you can do, and I thought we'd make a quick little video and kind of get you guys started up on how it works. So first off here, you can't use Bitmex in the United States, so you have to utilize Bitmex testnet. If you go ahead and just go to the Bitmex testnet site, you can go ahead and create a username and password from there. Pretty simple. If you plan on trying to utilize Bitmex in the future for traveling to another country, something like that, make sure you utilize another email address so that you don't get confused. All you do, go in here, create an email, password, basic information, and you'll go ahead and get a confirmation email. Once you sign up to that, you'll have full access and you'll be able to jump onto the testnet site. Once you're onto the testnet site, you're going to have a lot of different options here. It seems like a lot going on. Pretty simple. The testnet right now has a lot of the old tokens that used to be traded. They just had an upgrade about a week or two ago. Pretty much now it's Bitcoin, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple, if I'm not mistaken. So the testnet still hasn't been updated, but this will definitely give you a basic intro on how everything operates and where you can go from there. So it's going to look like your typical order book. You have limit orders, market orders. You'll have your cost basis and everything here. And this is a big part you need to kind of pay attention to because this is going to allow you to operate off of margin trading. In the case you would normally purchase 1 Bitcoin, you could then have the option of leverage trade up to 10 Bitcoin for the same price of one. You have the option to make profits off of 10 Bitcoin, but you also have the opportunity to get liquidated out. We'll catch into that a little bit later. So we'll check into the basics of the site here. Obviously, we said we have your different options that we have up here. You're going to have your basic charts. You'll be able to have your balance. You'll be able to see some of the recent trades. And if you kind of click between a few of these, you'll be able to see different charts, your full balance. You'll see all the different trades and everything that's going on as well. You can also come down to the bottom here and you can see kind of like the open value that you have, everything that's going to be available from there. Keep in mind, everything in here, it's fully movable around, customizable. So if you want to, put your trades up there, put your wallet down here a little bit, everything is fully customizable. So everybody's going to have a different look. You can kind of feel free to operate the way that you're going to want to operate. You're also able to go up here if you prefer a dark layout versus a light layout. Very simple, easy to use. Actually, the UI on Bitmex is it's actually pretty simple. The one thing I don't like about it, the charts are very, very limited. You do have some options up here if you want to come in and utilize some of the tools that you like to use. Pretty simple, easy to pick up. It's just very, very limited. You can't save anything. It's I still utilize, you can go to Coinigy, TradingView, anything like that. It will actually be better utilized for you if you want to go through there. I maybe we'll have a tool up here just to kind of see, but it's you're not going to have a really good time utilizing it. So I would suggest, my personal preference is I just get rid of all the stuff that's up here. Um, so a couple of the basics that you have here. Within Bitmex, once you come in, some of the basic things that you'll do is you're first going to want to deposit money. So on the testnet, it's very, very simple. You're going to automatically start off with a little bit of a balance. It'll kind of depend of 5,000 sats it really depends on how much that they give you. But if you want to start off and you want to have a little bit of an idea of what you really feel like putting in, very simple to do. You can just go into your deposit, and this is just it's gonna be a simple faucet account that you can go to any one of these 3 sites. I've actually had much better luck with the top 3 sites up here. you can just go to that site. We'll kind of run through here real quick. It'll open up a wallet address. Then you can just boom, just like any regular Bitcoin transfer. You go from there. So you'll take your address from here, cut and paste, pop it right into here, confirm that you're not a robot, and then it'll go ahead and then upload you with some new currency to make sure that if you've had a couple of bad trades, you'll be able to have a couple extra Bitcoins in there, make sure that you're able to trade out. So that's the basics of your account. One of the big things to be concerned about, or just be knowledgeable around, is here's your wallet balance. So an XBT is the equivalent to a BTC. So one XBT is going to be one Bitcoin. So Satoshis and everything can be it's going to be the exact same. So nothing really to worry about. So if you transferred in one Bitcoin into here, if you transferred 1.08 Bitcoin into here, you'd have 1.08 XBT. So this is just the currency that they utilize into the system. It's the exact equivalent of a Bitcoin. So any types of bets that you're making, a half a Bitcoin, today's price is around 6,700. So we have 6,700 if you're putting 0.5 XBT on any of your bets. Your wallet's pretty important. This will tell you your exact wallet that you have available. This will tell you your total margin balance. So if you have some open trades that are going on, it'll obviously take those into consideration because you're going to have even positions open, any types of orders that you might have open. So it's going to definitely tell you everything that you have up here. And then at the bottom, it'll give you a transaction history of any of the deposits that you've made. Obviously, I said it'll give you any. It's not a set amount, so I've actually recently just deposited a couple of XBT in here through that faucet address that we talked about a little bit ago. So currently right now I have 1.08 XBT into my account. So let's go ahead and make a trade. So when you come into here, obviously there's going to be your few different accounts that you have the option of betting onto, placing orders on. Like we said before, typical limit, typical order books, you're going to have limit, market. This is actually really cool because it does give you stop limit opportunities. You can stop market, trailing stop, which I really, really like. You could set limits on profit if you have a 25% goal. When it hits that, it's actually a really, really cool order book. It gives you a lot of flexibility in how you want to make your trades. It's actually a very, very, very advantageous type of way to go. So currently we see right here, Bitcoin is about 67.80. So anytime you're putting any types of orders in, your quantity is going to be your contracts. So your contract, one contract is going to be the equivalent of $1. So that's very important to make sure that you remember. So in fiat, if you have $1,000 of fiat USD into this account, you can go ahead and you're going to place $1,000 order on here. Well, that's going to be the equivalent of 0.1476 XBT slash Bitcoin. So we mentioned before around, hey, well, how are we going to bet 10 Bitcoin on 1 Bitcoin? First off, I would make sure that anytime you're doing any type of leverage trading, you want to make sure that you really know what you're doing and don't over leverage yourself. A couple different tools that'll really, really help you out is if you look right up here, there's going to be a little bit of a calculator. And I know with Bitmex, it could be a little bit confusing on, well, wait a second, this margin, where are we going to go? So you could go ahead and open this up. So this is actually going to give you a big indicator on anything that you want to learn. If I'm going to put an order in for a long, what's going to be my liquidation? How much could my profitability be? Well, let's say we're going to go short. We could do the same thing around here. You could give profit levels around, hey, if we get from 6,500 to 7,000, where is it going to go? And most importantly, don't get wrecked. You want to make sure that you know your liquidation price. So let's go ahead right here and we're going to say we were going to put in an order for 1,000. We'll kind of work you through this real quick just to make sure that everybody kind of has a really good idea. So you have your leverage opportunities right here. So if we're going to bet $1,000, we have the opportunity, it's 1,000 contracts, $1,000. We have the opportunity of going straight 1-to-1. So here's where you actually change your leverage. So if you see right here, $1,000 contract is going to cost you 0.14 0.147 total XPT. Well, what if I wanted to maximize my leverage? I could utilize somebody else's money to help me maximize. So we can go to here. We could go 2 times leverage. We're still going to get 1,000 contracts, which would be $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But if you notice, our total cost basis is down to 741. So in essence, we're using 2 times leverage. So it's actually cutting our initial investment in half. It's going to be important to remember, though, that when you utilize somebody else's money, you're going to have your liquidation price, which we talked about up here, which is actually, once your liquidation price hits, that means that you no longer have enough margin to cover the order. So the brokers who you're borrowing money from are going to make sure they have their money. So you'll split in the profits in the future, but they want to make sure that, hey, if we're getting to the point where something's going the wrong direction, they're going to cover their side and you would end up getting liquidated. So if you look right here, you could put $1,000 order. So 2 times leverage means that you would put in half as much to get $1,000 contract. Like we showed here before, it'd be 741 XBT instead of 1,400 XBT. So you can work this all the way up. So, okay, cool. Well, wait, I could put $1,000 in and get $1,000 contract, and actually I would only be responsible for about 150 XBT. Well, here's one thing to really consider. So we can utilize this tool, and this is where it really comes in. So we're going to use a $1,000 contract. Our entry price right now is, I'll show your price right down here, so you can just utilize that price, current market price. And you're going to see we're going to go short. So 1,000 contracts, 67.67 is our total entry price. And we're going to leverage at, we'll show you the difference here. If we use our own money and don't use anybody, our liquidation price is so high, nothing's ever going to get there. That means we're betting for it to go short. We would not be liquidated until we got to 131,000, 1.315789, so $1,315,000 until our $1,000 would actually get liquidated. But let's go ahead and change this to 2 times leverage. Well, now our liquidation price is $13,395. Go to 5 times leverage. Now our liquidation price is $8,400. 10 times. Now our liquidation price is $74.76. So if we look closer, current price right now, $67.75. So if we're putting our order in go short, we would be liquidated at the cost of $74.67. Let's bring this down to a smaller chart right here. $74.67. Therefore, that once the price got up to $7,400 and $74.76, therefore we would be liquidated, which means that we can no longer cover the cost of the price of Bitcoin increasing versus going the other direction. Very important to make sure that you kind of get very comfortable with this. That's why I would really suggest that you utilize 2 to 3 times margin to get comfortable, just so you have a good idea of how it works. When you really start messing with higher levels of margin, let's put a short order on at 67.67 at 25 times margin. Now our price is $7,011, which really only gives you about $250 for a price spike in order for you to become completely liquidated. So mess around with this tool, kind of get a good idea of where you're at. My thought process to you guys would be really don't mess with anything more than 2-3 times leverage at first. Get comfortable with the process, get comfortable with the test net, kind of see how things go. Obviously, if you're watching this channel, you understand that prices jump up in candles, no problem. $200-300 on Bitcoin, 15 minutes, not a problem. So get comfortable. Figure out what's the difference between long and short. Hey, today's price $67.79. We haven't had a 6-hour candle less than 67 in 3 days. Great, let's go long. All right, well, we're going to go 25x long. 6,500 bucks would be our liquidation price. So if we ended up dropping down here, boom, there goes our order. So definitely it gives you a lot more flexibility when you keep your leverage much lower. We changed going long at a cost of 67.80 cost basis. Liquidation price definitely gives us a little bit more flexibility, 61.80. But now we're actually only putting in on 10 times leverage 1,000 contracts slash USD is going to be the equivalent of $100. So $100 would then, in essence, at 10 times leverage, give you the opportunity to then maximize off $1,000 total order on those books. So get comfortable with this. This will make you very familiar with the system. So let's just go ahead and put in an order. Usually, when utilizing any types of margin trading, don't want to sit around for orders because you're probably making some pretty quick swing type of trades. So we'll just go ahead and let's just put in a 3x trade at 1,000 contracts. It's going to show you right here our cost base is going to be about 494 XBT. And we're going to, hey, we're thinking it's pretty low right now. So we're thinking it's going to go long. So this is where you would want to go long, short. So we're going to go long right here. It's always going to give you a heads up. Boom. It's going to tell you you're at 3 times leverage. Here's your order value, 1476, but your cost basis is only going to be 494. You can still make adjustments from here. You know what? A little risky. Boom, order value 1476, cost value 1479. Tell you your total balance. This is the amount of contracts that you're purchasing. Here's the price that we're going to jump in on, and it'll also show you your liquidation price. So we said we're going long. Mark price 676. This means in order to lose in this order, our liquidation price would be 33.96. Hey, well, let's up that. Maybe we don't want to put in as much of a bet. Boom, you see your liquidation price is going to go up a little bit higher. And this is exactly what we say, just like we said before. Went up to a 5x, 5,600, and then 10x back to 6187. So be careful, make sure you read onto this before you go. It'll tell you about a percentage difference, the actual dollars, or XBT difference that you would end up going down, your percentage difference again. So hey, we're just going to stick it to about a 5% leverage right here. Hey, we got a 1476 XBT order value. We did 5 times leverage, so that's going to be a fifth of our total value cost. It's going to be 297 XBT, still 1,000 contracts. Here's our entry price, our liquidation price, and this would be the change before we would end up getting liquidated. So boom, we'll put in an order right there. It's going to show we just made the purchase, and we're good to go. So it will show our order right here. So we had quantity, we had 1,000 filled. Here's our total order price. So it's everything that you really need to know right here. I actually prefer to have this one a little bit more at the top because this is going to have your actual orders. Get comfortable with this because this will show your open positions that you have. This is our XBT value. Here's what we entered. Here's the actual price that it's at right now. Shows your liquidation, shows how much margin you've used. And this will actually show your profitability right now. So right now it shows that we've lost about 5 XBT at that point at a minus 2%. To give you an idea of what your actual realized margin is. And then this is where you would close your orders if you would like. So you could go ahead and do a market close, means, hey, I want to get out of here right now. Or, hey, let's go ahead and close the order out at 6,700. You could type in 6,700, close it out, and you'd be good to go. So make sure that you pay attention to that, though, whatever's going on. So you'll show your order right here. On this order, we ended up going long. So we bought in at our price right here. We got 1,000 contracts showing that we're down about 8 XBT right here. So you're probably going to be pretty concerned if you're going to do any types of overnight types of deals, anything like that. And here's where it really comes in. We always preach around making sure that we have stop limits. You want to make sure that you protect yourself. Such a volatile market, you really never know which way things are going to go. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. Cool thing I like here, you could obviously just put a stop market order in. We're going to go ahead and you can go ahead and put a stop market order in, pop that right there, and we're going to say, hey, I want to protect myself. I was doing some charting earlier. I said, hey, if it gets to 6,900, I'm happy with that. Or saving yourself on the end. Hey, we see some support right here. If it breaks the support of 65, all right, cool. Let's make sure that we set an order. So you can go ahead and you can just pop in your orders right here, 6,500. All right, cool. And since we went long on the initial order, what you would do here is then purchase a short, which would then, in essence, cancel out the long order that you had. You cannot have a long and a short order at the same time. So, in essence, since we went long previously by purchasing a short for the same amount of 1,000 contracts, you would, in essence, cancel yourself out. So you're purchasing the initial order that you had. One of my favorite things that I like to do, especially out here, I'm out on the West Coast. There's a lot of, the markets happen a lot when we're sleeping. It's 24-hour volatile market. You never know what's going to happen. Midnight might be popping, 4 in the morning, 11 in the afternoon. You might have to go to work, anything going on. So make sure that you're smart around your orders if you don't want to be glued to charts all day. One of my favorite things I like to do is a trailing stop. So in a trailing stop, what this allows you to do is you want to jump on your quantity. So, hey, still 1,000 contracts. But I know that, hey, things are kind of going good and it's rising, but you kind of want to lock in some profits. So if you want to, if you start rising up in a good direction and things are great, you could go here and you say, all right, well, if it drops $200 from the increase, it'll automatically trigger a stop. So as things start to rise, let's say it goes from 6,800 to 69 to 7,000, but you got something that you need to do and you still kind of want to let it ride out. But you don't want to let it go all the way back down. You don't want to get liquidated or you don't want to lose out on your profits. So you can actually set up a trailing loss, stop loss of, let's just say, $100. So we could do that, 1,000 contracts minus 100. Let's set a sell stop. Verify everything, just like how we did before. And what we could do is go in here, click, boom. Now it's automatically got a sell stop. It's at 6,666. We have our mark price. It's going to be pretty close to there, depending on how fast it took the order. So what this means now is our trail value is $100 less than what the actual value is. So if we end up going from 6,800 to 69 to 7,000, our trailing stop is automatically going to go $100, like we put in here, below the mark price. So as we start to increase, our trigger stop will increase with it as well. So it's not as concrete as putting a solid stop loss on, hey, if it gets to 65, we're out, or 7,100, we're out. This will always continue to move up with the actual price. So if the price ends up going up to 7,100, your last price of $100 below the highest price will be at 7,000. So if it goes to 7,100, drops down to 7,000, it will trigger your stop and should close out your order. So be very careful around that because it might go down to 6,800 and then spike up again. But it's a very, very smart thing to do just to make sure that you have everything available. Like I said, you don't want to be glued to the charts the whole time. It gives you the opportunity to let it run. You want to let your winners run, but you don't want to get knocked out. Also, if you create an order right here, it's $100 below your mark price. You're not really comfortable in the way things are going right now. Pretty confident it's going to go up, but it might trigger down. It will start $100 below where your initial offer is. But that's one of my favorite tools I like to use, especially if I'm going to bed, have some stuff to do for work. It's just super, super, super convenient. But like we said, you could do stop limit, stop market. You can set a take profit. Everything from here, just get very, very comfortable. And this is where the test net obviously comes very, very, very in handy. So those are a couple of the big tools. Let's see. Hey, not really feeling good. I was doing a little bit of charting. Not really liking this. I made a bad call, sold a bad candle. Look, I went long. Oops, it's going down. So we want to close this order out. Not really feeling comfortable with not feeling comfortable with it right now. So we're just going to go straight market order. We're going to want to close this. We went long. Looks like it's going short. Not feeling too good. Boom, close it out. Keep everything out. Verify it's good. Let's go ahead and sell all of our contracts. Everything's sold out right here. So very simple. You go back into here, you can see your closed positions, close that one out as down 9 XBT. You'll go back here, anything that you have, you can show your active orders. Like we mentioned, you had a couple of different options, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin. It'll also tell you where you put your stops, so you can kind of manage your stops in through here. It'll show you that that was about $100, $100 over on my stop price on a previous deal. Trailing stop wasn't untriggered. That was the time. Clear that out. Boom. Show your order history of everything that we did. So in essence, this just showed everything that we did in the last couple of minutes here. I made my order. I popped in a trailing stop. That's the order. Made a market close. It was filled. Everything's good to go. If you scroll down here a little bit, it'll obviously tell you you want to make sure that you're into something that has some liquidity. Obviously, unless you're a pretty experienced trader, I would always suggest stick with something that has the most liquidity. Uh, Obviously, Bitcoin XBT is going to have the most, but it'll tell you how many orders that you totally have for everything. Got a lot of good info here. You could obviously open up the order book, see your depth charts, a lot of different things going on. Like we said before, you can move this around depending on which way you like to look at your charts. Uh, you know, just very, very useful system all in all. So I hope this was very helpful to you guys. Basic tutorial around how you're going to open an order. Make sure that you protect yourself. Biggest things that I would say: don't get wrecked. Make sure that you guys are getting comfortable with margin trading. Really, really start off at 2, 3, maybe 5x uh, total leverage. Get comfortable with the tools that are out here. The tools are here, uh, very helpful. Just gives you a great idea of where your estimations would be, and just protect yourself. Be smart around it. Obviously, margin trading could be very profitable, but it's also a very, very easy way to liquidate you from some of your profits that you previously had. So just be smart, have some fun, and hope this video was helpful. Hope you guys all have a great night. See you later.